Good evening. This is the Town of Newfane Selectboard meeting. It's our regular meeting with a regular agenda. It is Monday, April 15th, 6 p.m. And so we welcome everybody here to Select Board. We have Mike Fitzpatrick, Chris Williams, Angela Sanborn, Shelley Huber, I'm Marion Dowling, and we have Juanetta Powling, our administrative assistant. So welcome. The first thing is I'm going to ask for any additions or amendments to the agenda.
I have an addition. I'd like to talk about the Williamsville Hall, but needing a spring cleanup and the trees that are cut and one kept from the tree cutting, I guess,
Wait a
down
minute.
one side
Are
of the
these
building.
two Williamsville Hall,
Mm-hmm.
and what else?
One would be spring cleanup.
Is that, you're talking about the green up day?
No, I'm talking about Williamsville Hall.
Oh,
It
yeah.
needs to be cleaned up.
Oh, that's what I'm asking you.
Yeah,
It's one
spring
thing,
clean.
Williamsville.
Inside or outside, excuse me.
Outside is where I'm talking about, in the front and down one side, the sides of the building. And then if the secondary would be, it looks like all the trees that were cut were just cut and left on the ground and they haven't been taken out.
They are gonna get taken out till the road close, gets dry back there.
Okay,
Yeah, we cut them in the middle over there, so.
yeah. But the building really needs to be cleaned up. The dog show, if they're gonna hold it or for anybody, the dog show's on April 27th and it's horrible looking.
Okay, we will talk about that under old business, okay? Any other amendments? Okay, additions.
Well,
Okay, okay. Can we have an approval of the minutes for April?
I have one other thing, traffic calming that we need to talk about as far as Dover Road goes and getting a committee.
Okay, can we just see if
That
there's
would be
enough
old
time
business
because
again. Yeah,
we have other things. So Dover Road, traffic calming. Okay, approval of the minutes, please. If anybody can make a motion.
I'll
Okay,
second it.
okay,
the minutes,
yeah,
okay. I say no,
you say no?
yeah,
Okay. You don't approve them?
I don't approve them.
Okay, anybody else approve them?
I abstain, I wasn't here.
Oh, that's right. Well, I'll approve them. So we have the quorum for approval. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? We have one opposed and one abstention.
Yes.
Okay, so the minutes pass. Okay. Road foreman and road commissioners report. So Jay, there seems to be a few things on the list. One second.
After contacting the dam inspectors and V-Trans, neither has any grant money available for the Guinea Pond spillway stabilization. So we're back to square one on that again. Wyndham Regional has scheduled our road erosion inventory for this summer. They didn't tell me exact date yet, but it'll start once the roads are dried out so they can see everything. The garage doors at the town garage have had some repairs and maintenance done to them. We had our meeting with the sand salt shed project manager from Wyndham Regional and the V-Trans rep, and that went well. And mud season is slowly running its course. Some roads are drying out while others are just starting to get mud. So it's been an interesting mud season.
I can just say something that Pam was saying before, that, and we can say it also for Newfane, that I think in most towns at least, people have been very, very impressed with how hard the road crews are working all around here with the conditions on the road. So I really want to thank you and your crew for doing a really great job. And I'm sure it's not fun.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But thank you. Okay, so, does Anybody make a motion to accept the road foreman's
I just have a
report?
question, so are anybody calling in saying that they can't pass any of the roads? No,
No, we did have some earlier that, and we kind of addressed those as they came up,
yeah,
but yeah, nothing since then.
Anybody who wants to make a motion to accept road foreman's report?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Okay, so
Second.
second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor of accepting the road foreman's report, please say aye.
I,
Any opposed? No. I would like to ask Chris, do you have anything to add? Okay. So, the road commissioner and road foreman's report is accepted, and thank you very much. Now, we are going on to, the follow-up about the excavator bids.
So I did the comparison, I went through, contacted all of them to make sure they were all bidding on the same exact specifications, clarified some stuff. And I just did this comparison to make it easier for you to see. The last one I had just gotten in was the Hyundai, and he didn't give me a lease one, he just gave me a total. So I think everybody's got one of those now.
So I assume we're going to choose one with you, right, and accept this tonight, correct?
Yeah, should be,
oh,
yeah.
if it passes.
That's what I said.
What was the difference though between,
Some of them didn't
like on the
include,
bids there, they didn't,
what that?
like the bids are a lot cheaper than what they.
Well, like all of them didn't include, 3 different things. They listed them separate, but they didn't include them in their price. So when they added them in, that brought their price up. Hyundai is the same thing. He had left some stuff out, so the warranty and the extended warranty and the guard for the glass in the front of the cab, stuff like that. So once they all had the same basic stuff, then that's what the prices came up to.
So I had a question also about the bidding process, that it's supposed to be in 3 public locations within the town and advertised in the newspaper in the region. And I think we made 2 papers as the Brattleboro Reformer, and the Commons is our papers for placing bids in.
Nobody said Brattleboro Reformer for placing bids.
I think it was also the Commons too.
No, because we said that the Commons doesn't come out every day.
Oh, okay, okay.
So we said we would use the Reformer for bids.
Only for,
And announcements, town announcements and bids.
okay.
So we have a copy of the announcement right here.
Okay.
And what is the other?
The other was if they've been posted in the locations or not.
Are you asking Juanetta?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, they have been.
yes.
Okay.
And then the other question is, we only post for a day for a bid
What do you mean post for a day?
in the newspaper.
Making an, well, I asked Juanetta the same question, and she said that the cost of the ads are very expensive. And so she's following what's happened in the past.
Right, so I guess the question is whether or not we need to look at doing it for a longer period of time. Not just for this bid, but for overall bids, I guess.
Well, I think, Juanetta, what you were saying earlier today was that you're following in the footsteps of the previous administrative
Well, that's
assistant.
all right, but it's under discussion under this board.
Okay, but right now,
Well, I mean, we probably could run it for a week or so.
at $57 a day.
Yeah.
Some of the advertising is $57, and like the snowplow that we put out for sale, that's $103 a day. depending on the length of the advertisement and the type of advertisement. The excavator bid, when we posted it, we're meeting the requirement, but then Jay also contacted the
Right,
dealers
individuals, yeah.
to let them know that we were
Does it
accepting
go,
bids,
yeah,
but we're meeting the requirement by putting them out for notifications for, you know, the warnings that other people that would see the postings.
well, my question also would be whether or not it would go on the website, that it should go on the website.
Okay, can I just say that right now we're in the middle of trying to deal with this, and that can go, we don't have a bidding process on the agenda right now. We can
Right,
talk-
but I'm just asking about this one here.
I know, but this one is, we have it all in. So am I correct in assuming that we're just talking about the lease cost? Is that correct? That we're just talking about leasing?
Yeah,
Am I, or not?
So,
You wanna answer that, Vinnie?
my opinion, we don't have a lot of money right now. The town, we're still owed a lot of money from flood work. Lease a machine for 1 year. You have to lease it for a year in order to get all the equipment that comes with it. If you don't lease it for a year, you don't get all the stuff. I recommend leasing it for a year and then go to the taxpayers if it works out and see about buying it. Your money on a lease goes towards the purchase.
Is that with every company we're dealing with?
If that's the way it's set up though, I don't think that's the way this is set up. Cause if you go leasing it by the year, they're gonna charge you probably about $6,000 a month.
I don't know, there's so much here, I haven't even been through it.
I mean, what you'd have to do is ask them.
well, that lease, that we had all the specs on the Caterpillar lease from last time. And that's anytime the money doesn't get appropriated, you can cancel it, or you can also refinance it at any time you want. And there's no extra charge to do that. The interest rate is 4 I think it was 9. But I noticed the money we just borrowed from the bank is 3.5 now. We aren't getting as cheap a loan as we used to. So there's not as big a difference as there used to be. We've got 2 loans that are be paid off as of January and February of next year. So that'll get our loans down a ways. And she paid off the $300,000 one this past couple of months ago, I guess. So it's looking better as far as our loans out there, but the lease just is a
Well, I think what I was thinking, it's only for a certain amount of months for that. You know, if they don't say that's gonna be for a year. I mean, I don't think that means you can rent that for a year, then turn it back in.
No, it says 8 to 10 year lease or a 10-year
10-year,
upfront
yeah, it's
lease.
a 10-year lease.
Right.
Yeah, you can't lease it for a year.
Right, so what I'm saying is if you're renting one, it means you're renting it by the year, I think they're gonna charge you
Right,
5, 6, 7,000 a month.
right. You'd have to do the lease, and then at the end of the year, decide whether you want to lease it again or you want to buy it outright.
Buy it outright.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're gonna lease it to us for a year for that 30,000.
No, you sign up for the regular lease, and then you can either, if you don't get the money appropriated, it just goes back, or you can refinance it at that point, or you can just continue on with the lease.
I know you said that, but where does it say that in the contract?
It's in when they send you the lease agreement, it's all spelled out. 'Cause
Oh,
we got-
right, you were
We got it
saying,
last time. We got the whole lease agreement.
Somebody had asked if it's necessary to lease for a full year rather than just finding a company that leases for the number of months that you need it for. So I don't know the answer to
The
that.
problem is, they won't give you the equipment that you want to go with it unless you lease it for a year.
I see, okay.
It also would cost the same if you leased it for the whole summer as doing it for an entire
Okay.
year. If you rented it for the summer as opposed to leasing it.
So Shelley, you were saying you just read that you can only lease it for 8 to 10 years? You
Yeah,
read-
it's a 10-year lease.
But you're saying that after 1 year,
I don't know because I don't see the contract for a lease contract in here. So I honestly, I just got this stuff today, you know, and I can't comprehend all of this. You know, I don't think anybody can really do that. And as far as we're looking at a lease, I would expect that a lease copy would be a part of this deal so that we can review the lease and what that lease says.
Until you decide on one, and none of them want to drop a lease agreement.
Well, you don't have to draw it up. I need a copy to review the copy so that I can see what the terms are.
you're talking about like a
I've
blank
leased-
lease
I've
form?
leased cars before and
Is that what
trucks.
you're talking about?
Yeah, like a blank lease to see what the lease actually says.
Do you have that?
I do. I had the garage. I didn't bring it over. I don't think it changed from 1 year to the next. But we
Is
did
it
that.
on this here, Jay?
No, I don't think I have it.
No, on here, what it said, it just says based on a 10-year lease.
10-year lease, yeah.
So in other words, they're giving it to you $30,000 a year for 10 years.
And it's gonna cost you more if you lease versus buying it. So, I mean, I can't make a decision on it.
Yeah, this is a 10-year.
Are you focusing on one of these models right now?
Well, they've got that brand new 2018, which is the least expensive and also has everything that we had asked. That one would be fine.
You're talking about the
The
Caterpillar?
the second one down, yeah,
18 or 19?
the 18 would be fine. They haven't changed anything.
Okay.
Now, what's the hours on it there? Is that 7 years, 3,500 hours?
If you go for more hours, the cost of the warranties just go up.
I think what I'd do if anything, and then we'll make a motion I'd make a motion that we, check with Caterpillar to see if that lease is for a year, if we don't purchase it.
Okay, so that's the
And
new
then at that point, you go to
2018.
the point to the town to try to finance it, because no matter what, it's still cheaper to finance it as lease it, right?
It's 1% and 1.4% right now.
So I just want to make sure we're talking about what I'm thinking talking about. The new 2018 Caterpillar M314F. Is that the model you're talking about?
Yeah, I guess, as long as the other ones come up to, the other ones are cheaper in the bids, but they said they didn't have it.
Right, they left out the stuff that was.
So we're talking about this one.
Yeah.
That you said that you want to find out about the leasing contract, is that correct?
Yeah, if we decide they're not keeping it for years, they're gonna be 32 or they're gonna charge us. I know when I run the excavator for the month, I know I checked on that price on that, whether they're 7,000 a month. One with a mowing it. So I'm just saying that, if we're not purchasing it or signing an agreement for 10 years on this, when they bring it down, we're gonna sign a lease with them for 1 year.
The lease will say is a 10-year lease, but every year, if you don't get funded, that's it just goes back.
Yeah, but we don't wanna rent it for 10 years.
Right, but what I'm saying is that's how their lease works, to get it for that price. If you wanna refinance it, it doesn't cost you any extra, you can just refinance it at the end of the year or at the end of 2 years or wherever you want to.
Okay, well, Mike, you made the motion. Do you want to repeat that, please?
Instead of make a motion, we look at the Caterpillar to see if that's actually what it is for the whole year, if we decide not to buy it.
So you're saying it's a motion to lease for 1 year only?
That's what Chris said.
Okay, so I'm gonna read this back and you tell me if I said it correctly. Okay, so you're saying we wanna find out about the Caterpillar. It's a lease payment, if it's a lease payment for a whole year, if we choose not to buy it. Is that correct?
If it's $30,000.
And then after a year revisit it.
Well, after you, like we said, is, all we've been doing so far is putting in for rent. We're actually purchasing it. And I think it should go back to the town, and that's what Chris was saying. You rent it for the year. If you can,
Lease it for the
you
year.
lease it for the year, go back to the town to see if they wanna spend the 200, whatever's left over on it,
Oh, I see.
Okay.
and to purchase it. Just like we do with our trucks and everything.
Uh-huh.
Well, up in Townsend, they were doing they got a special loan from the Vermont, gosh, what's it called? Like a loan, a specialty
Municipal equipment fund.
municipal, and it was due for today. And it was at 3 point something percent. So, I don't, do they offer that on a yearly basis?
Yeah. That's, it was about the same rate as we get at the bank. They used to-
Maybe 2, I
It
don't
used to
know.
only be 1%, but then they went up on it.
Do you know what the
Yeah.
percentage?
I don't know what it is this year now.
Yeah, see, I'm just saying, I think it was around.
I guess what I'm kinda getting at though is, I mean, the whole lease thing, I don't have a problem leasing if that's what it is for a year. But I'm wanting to go to the town to make sure we're gonna be able to purchase it. I don't wanna like blow smoke up somebody's ass telling them we're gonna do this for 10 years, every year we're gonna put in for rent. Because I've already heard quite a lot of people say they don't like the idea of us getting it.
Right,
And I'd rather go to the town and have them do it and vote on it. If it votes and goes through, it goes through. If it don't, it don't, you know?
yeah,
But I said I'd rather have them be doing it than every year we just throw in 30 grand a year rent for equipment and then keep going and buying it that way.
buying it or leasing it? Because I don't know if they'll apply the money
But
towards the
at the end of
purchase.
10 years, you own it.
Not with the lease?
Yeah.
Is that how the lease writes?
At the end of 10 years, you own it for $1 or whatever, or some damn thing. But I mean,
That's why our loader is.
Yes.
Yeah.
The later, look, the same. way.
right. But
So,
what I'm saying is, if we're gonna purchase it, or buy it, or rent it, or whatever, we're gonna end up owning it. I just soon have the town tell us it's okay
Right.
to spend that money to own it.
I agree with you.
Because everybody's already carrying on about all their taxes
Right.
and everything else, and all this thing, I said, so. You know,
So-
to add another $300,000 to it. It's,
so you made a motion with the
I made
question,
a motion that we look into the rent
right,
and see if it's actually, that's what it is for a whole year.
okay,
If we're not buying, you know, if we don't buy it.
okay. Is there a second to Mike's motion?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion about this?
Well, what do you mean by if you don't buy it? Meaning if you just lease it for 1 year and give it back, right?
If it's, yeah, say if we voted at town meeting, nobody wanted to buy it, and then we had to return it.
Yeah.
That's it. Or are they gonna come back and all of a sudden bang it every month for $7,000 a month?
Right, because for 10
And then you
years.
got 80,000, 84,000 tied up in rent.
Right. And if it's gonna, does this come with the equipment that you were requesting on this lease price?
Yeah, Chris had said if we do it this way, all the equipment is in.
All equipment, but you have to do it for a year or else you won't get all the equipment.
Uh-huh.
Because it costs so much to set this equipment up on
Oh,
the
yeah.
machines.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why you have to do it for a year.
Versus a month or a season or something.
I mean, if they say, no, you're not gonna do it that way, you know, this is because if you take it for 10 years, then you might just well go like we did last year and rent one for a couple of months like we
Right.
had it. And
The lease is every year, it has the dot appropriation clause, so if you don't appropriate the money, then you just return the machine. So that's
I'd
how
like
they
to
operate.
see that lease.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same lease we signed for the loader, which we probably still got that here somewhere. It's a standard municipal lease that's very popular because the towns don't have any money tied up as far as a loan. It's just a once a year, if you appropriate the money, you just keep the machine. If you don't, then the machine goes back.
So Jay, if we vote on this motion, can you ask the company about this and ask for it to be put in writing? All the questions we need to know, so that you can bring that to the meeting? Okay, so are we ready to vote? Any other, okay. All those in favor of accepting the motion that Mike made about inquiries for leasing a year and then also bringing it to the town, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, great. So thank you for that, Mike. And Jay, if, and Winetta, you wrote it down?
Yes.
So if you can contact the company and then have them put it in writing, all the questions we need to know, that would be great. Thank you for that. So now we are up to roadside mowing bid. And we have one bid come in. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Before that, it's, whenever you wrote that, we have to sign the annual highway audit.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
we'll go to the, okay. I think you put it there. Is this it? Here it is, no. The annual financial plan?
Yes.
Okay, this is an annual financial plan for town highways. And we need the select board to sign off on it. It says, "We, the legislative body of the municipality of Newfane, certify that funds raised by municipal taxes are equivalent to or greater than a sum of at least $300 per mile for each mile of class 1, 2, and 3 town highway in the municipality." So that's what
I
we're
make
saying.
a motion to sign it.
Second
All those in favor?
it.
All right.
Aye. Okay. Okay, so we're moving down to sealed roadside mowing bids. We have one bid that came in on April 9th, which was last Tuesday at 9:20 a.m. And it's given by Jake Beatty. Okay, first this is an estimate submitted by Jake Beatty. At the bottom, there's a question, would you consider doing this as a multi-year contract? And he checked yes. So let's see what the bid is.
Is that how the bid went out, as a question whether or not it would be a multi-year
What?
contract? Is that how the bid went out?
Yes. And it had done that on a previous bid, for 2 years, which is why I did it that way again.
That's how it was listed?
On the paperwork that went out, yes.
Okay.
Okay, this is Jake Beatty property. And the description is bid for roadside mowing, mowing 64 miles of road with boom mower, mowing 2 passes where possible, and over band rail for a contract of 2019. Band rail, is that correct? Okay. And the price is $9,200. And that's the bid.
Do they come with insurance? A certificate of insurance?
Doesn't mention.
We have a copy of his insurance because, he is a contractor on another.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, this is the only one that came in. Does anybody want to make a motion to accept it?
Excuse me. I'll make a motion to accept it there.
In a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? Okay. So
He's going
Jake,
over the guardrail and everything, huh?
yeah, would you like to see?
No.
Okay. So Jake Beatty property, is, getting the bid and the job. Thank you very much. I'll give this to you.
What was the starting date on that?
July 15th.
Jumped it up a little this year.
Yeah.
Will you contact him or what will you-
So does he sign a contract of services after the bid is awarded?
What's that?
Contract for services?
What's that?
It's a contract for services that he had from last year.
He's already signed a subcontractor's agreement. Is that what you have?
It's a contract for services.
May I see what you have?
Uh-huh.
Yes, he already has one on file.
So for this year then,
Yes,
so it's dated already?
yes, for 2019. It doesn't have necessarily for the mowing, but he is a subcontractor and he's already signed it and presented his insurance. We have it for all of our contractors that
So what
do
else
work.
does he do?
I can't hear Shelley.
What else does he do?
Oh,
I don't know.
Because this is a contract just for roadside mowing.
Right. That's about all he usually does, isn't
I think so.
Yeah.
I can get
it?
them.
So they have to have insurance like workman's comp and all that.
Yeah.
No, not as an independent contractor, you just need to have liability insurance.
I think the town, you have to carry workman's comp on, right? If not, the town has to cover it, right?
No, the town doesn't cover him. He would have to cover himself, I think it's part of the contract.
Right, as I say, it's supposed to have for the town, so. I guess something state
So
law.
before commencing work on this contract, the contractor must provide certificate of insurance to show that the following minimum coverages are in effect. It's for 1 million and 2 million in aggregate business automobile liability coverage with certain totals.
This is his previous 2016 and 17.
Well,
1
I don't
million.
care about the previous, I'm just, this is something that he just signed for a renewal of.
Yeah, for property management.
So this is a contract that is,
Because we have an
oh, yeah,
audit.
this is okay, this is an audit.
Yeah.
So this was his contract though, dated April.
Yeah.
Okay, so he needs to do roadside mowing 2019 to 2020?
If we hired him for the
Oh,
bid.
okay, he did all this work already.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we've already got him signed because we had to have paperwork in order for our audits.
that's weird. I would think you'd have to have it done after the fact.
Well, we haven't hired him until
Yeah.
he presented the bid, but because he's already been on our contractor list,
Okay,
we automatically sent them out to anybody that had previously been in our files.
okay, okay. So that's what this one is then?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jim.
We had put out the sander, the old sander that we had at the garage to bid and wanted to advertise it and so forth, and we didn't get any bids back. Mike had mentioned it. I didn't know if we could try Craigslist or something to get rid of it. I didn't seem to work and it was expensive to advertise it in the paper, so.
Yeah, I saw that. I did advertise it.
It's almost more, costs more than it's worth.
What about like a scrap person?
Well,
Scrap
I mean,
metal?
it's better than that, but you just gotta find the right person.
You gotta find the right guy who's got the hookups for it.
Right.
Other than that, everybody's going to the plastic ones now.
Ah, yeah. It's stainless steel, isn't it?
Parts of it.
Parts of it that are
You
remaining.
still got a metal chain, you got metal sprockets, you got.
Was it go in the back of a pickup?
Yeah. But it's gotta have a hydraulic system that runs off the motor.
Motor
with a
of the-
pump, and tanks on the truck, and all your controls are in the truck.
Yeah. I
So
was,
it's, mainly like towns and stuff have that.
I make a motion that you put it on Craigslist
Anybody want to second
Second.
that?
at a certain, what would you say for price wise?
What do you think? Put it in for 900. See what
You
you
can always
get,
come down, you can't go up.
or best offer.
You gotta get over what we paid for the, putting in the paper.
How much was it for the paper?
307.
Jeez.
That's why we don't.
It's just been smarter to sell it to somebody outright and buy it.
Mhm.
Sometimes
And
that
that
way
was-
isn't the best.
That was for 3 days.
Yeah, I know, it's a very expensive advertising in the paper.
So Mike made a motion and it was seconded. Any further conversation? So basically you're saying either 900 or best
Oh,
offer?
just put it in and whatever, I don't know.
Just the best, okay. So will you do that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So all those in favor say aye.
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 You got a bunch of stuff down that old shed you wanna go through too, right? Throw them in there. same
Throw
ad.
that in there,
Or you put them right in the same ad as
at a
you're
garage
going, so
sale.
you got them tires and everything else, and never, somebody bites on them all the time. Just sell them cheap.
Yeah,
Sounds good. Okay.
I guess I make a motion that Jay can have a garage sale. Or, yeah, Jay, no. Go at it.
Okay, sounds good. So I think we have covered everything that you're here for, Jay. And thank you very much, and you'll get the letter about the excavator information. And you can put that piece of equipment, the other one, on Craigslist. And so we move on. The next item on the agenda is the administrative assistant report, and that is Juanetta, please.
I'm still receiving the overweight permits, which are the excessive weight for the highway, for the town. I've reviewed I've inspected the Williamsville Hall twice after rentals and returned the security deposits. I've also spoken with Racine Cleaning of Marlboro about cleaning the town hall while Diane's out on medical leave, as well as the possibility of taking up the Williamsville hall responsibilities, and waiting to confer with Steve on their thoughts and progress, that they may have secured a cleaning service there. He did get back to me later this afternoon, and there was a lady that came in and signed paperwork with Melissa, but she's under the impression that she's not available for the Williamsville Hall.
Melissa's under the impression.
Yeah, after she'd already signed the W-9s.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna contact her and find out if it's something that she's still willing to do, or if we wanna proceed with another service. And then there was a recent dumping of trash on the town hall outside here, and I contacted Trooper Jensen, and he's doing an investigation and will be getting back to us once he's completed that. Upon reviewing the security cameras, the footage was not clear enough to identify the plates on the car, and I'd like to propose that we get other cameras set up at lower angles that would better identify activity in the parking lot, and perhaps expand upon the system that we already have in place. And then on Friday the 5th, we had an annual highway audit, which you saw today in your paperwork. We were able to meet the guidelines and are able to proceed with any future grants if we feel the need. After that audit, it was determined that there had not been submitted any paperwork for reimbursement for the River Road Bridge. So I went ahead and did that on the 5th as well, and we should be receiving $175,000 back in reimbursements in the next 2 to 3 weeks for work that we've already paid for. And today is day 60 of my employment here. And there's always something new and exciting to learn. So,
Okay.
Well, that's good
Thank
though
you.
about the grant for the bridge.
yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't until after we had completed the audit that Megan had brought up that we hadn't submitted, and she verified it once she got back to the office, so I went ahead and submitted that paperwork.
So it's supposed to have been submitted quite a while ago or something like that.
I guess it could have been done at any point once the bridge was complete. The only thing that was left was or another post, I think, for the band rail.
Yeah.
But she said that's considered complete, so.
Well, it's a good thing you had the audit and noticed it.
Yeah, that's great.
She's very thorough on that stuff.
Yeah,
But,
that's it. I mean,
it's
that's something that kind of slipped through the cracks, so yeah, good job.
Absolutely.
So I also have a performance review and my job description
Yeah,
set up for the next
for the next meeting,
meeting.
So, first of all, is there anybody who would like to make a motion to accept Juaneta's administrative assistant
Well,
report?
I have a question about the hall, as far as the cleaning, rinsing, cleaning and such. If that's a service that's gonna be happening between here and there, it would be substantial enough. Even so, without that, we probably need to think about going out to bid for that.
I don't think, we talked about that and it seemed like it was not, we do have to go after bid? No.
We've had a person that does our cemeteries, does everything.
Right.
And he's done them for years, he does a good job.
I think she's talking about the cleaning inside, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
The cleaning
inside.
Inside. Cause,
But we have to,
Well, you just said, you said the outside before, so.
no, she's talking about
I'm
something.
Oh,
talking
she said
about
between-
cleaning.
cleaning between this and the building and that one. We're gonna hire one person,
Yeah,
but right,
Especially,
what's Diane doing? No, she's been doing this, right?
She has been doing this, but she's gonna be going out for medical leave. And it could be 4 to 6 months.
so my
She
question,
does this twice a month.
Well, also the Williamsville Hall Committee is also working on this in terms of getting cleaning people.
Right.
So, I mean, it's good that you have spoken to some people and you have some people to recommend.
Right.
But really, isn't this something that the committee had said that they would take on?
I don't know.
Well,
To find people?
that's what, was mentioned. And she came in and signed the paperwork
Oh,
with
that's the person.
Melissa.
Uh-huh.
And then
Decided
it's
not.
Melissa's understanding that she's no longer available to do the Williamsville Hall.
Mhm.
Because of a limited time with her children.
Mhm.
well, it comes back to when somebody's taking care of a property, you really need to have insurance coverage and a contract with that person, so you are clear as to what, everyone's clear as to what needs to be done and how it's to be done. So, having the contract, you know, just like we did with the mowing and stuff, you know, the person has to sign a contract, they have to provide the insurance. We have a lot of, if they're in here, I mean, there's a lot of, public
There is a
information.
policy for that, and anybody that does contracting work signs the paperwork for that, because we do
I think
have.
we talked about that in
Yeah.
terms of Williamsville Hall insurance and insurance
Well,
for
not for
the
the
town.
cleaning, not for cleaning, no.
Diane signs a contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does she,
Are we gonna need to hire somebody now to do this for us?
It's going to be imminent in the next month or 6 weeks that she'll be going out for surgery.
So then we're gonna have to find somebody. Well, is there any way we could find out from her what her plans, you know, I mean, is she planning on coming back or not? And if not, we might as well, like she said, put out a thing for both places. Somebody that would clean both places, right?
Yeah, she's,
Yeah.
you know, she probably won't ever come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if she will not, you know. As I say,
That's
but
funny.
I'd rather her tell us that,
Yeah.
but she's been doing it long years.
Right.
Right,
You know, so I'd rather have, as I said before we vote to put it out to bid,
right.
is there any way we can
If-
find out
It would
within,
be a temporary thing until Diane lets us know otherwise, but the
Right.
Williamsville Hall still needs to have a cleaning service. And the Racines are, willing to take that responsibility on.
And will you check with Steve Levine, because at our last meeting, if you remember, they said they also were gonna look, maybe they found somebody, or they would be very interested in who you have found.
so when you look at a bid process, if it's a service, does that consider, if it's a contract, is, at all purchases of 2,000 or more shall be subject to a bid process? If it's a contract service?
if it's what, 2,000 or more, right?
So if it's a contract service and it's $2,000 or more, I'm assuming it has to go out to bid.
Right, but so far it probably doesn't really go over that. I mean, what they're charging, I don't think there's a lot of money on it before. I don't even think it ever got to that much.
I'd like to know what the amount
To
is.
say these are separate places.
Yeah, but now if you're gonna combine them, it's gonna add up, and you're gonna want to know if it's gonna be done, you know, after pre or after events or whatever, you know, what the controls are on it. I mean, we could have somebody over there cleaning 7 days a week, you know, but we need to define what needs to be cleaned and how often and when.
Well, we already discussed with the Williamsville Hall in terms of what they would want cleaned, and they were going to make a list. Do you
List,
remember that?
yeah.
So we need to get in touch with them because they were gonna follow up on that.
So I guess from there, we'll find out how much or how often they'll need that service,
Right.
and then look at the service here for,
I somehow think it should be separate, because we have a regular cleaning service here, right? Like, what is it, every other week or something? Whereas Williamsville Hall, I think will be less often. It's going to be cleaned before and after an event, but they don't have events every single week or every other week.
right.
And I think
Well, if you-
my opinion is to have two separate contracts with people. And that, again, once again, we have the Williamsville Hall Committee who said they would be taking care of them, all of that.
Well, they would have to put it out to bid. They have to come here to put it out to bid.
Well, if it's under $2,000 even.
Right.
And I don't know if it would be over.
Well, that's why I say I'd
2,000.
give it another, to find out, I wanna find out what Diane's plans are.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't, I almost think that it should, if it's gonna go out to bid, might as well bid them both.
That's
That way one company will do them both, and they come in, you might get a better deal,
exactly.
you know? But,
I don't know.
as I said, let's give it another week, so 2 weeks, to our next meeting, or we'll find it all out.
It might be good to know when we find out when and if Diane would be coming back, what her fee has been to clean here. And normally, is it every other week? You know, get that information.
Okay.
Does she have a contract now, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, are we making a motion about anything or what? No, we're just gonna find out. Okay. So, we were back to, I'm asking if anybody would like to make a motion to accept the administrative assistance report.
I'll make a motion to accept the administrative assistance report.
Second it.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you, Juanetta. Thank you for doing this administrative report and for all the work you've been doing for the town. Okay.
So I guess, I just have a question as far as like the dumping of the trash. I know she brought it up at the last meeting out on Dover Road, along the gravel area. And now there's another question about dumping the trash here, in the town hall. So the questions are up there, but, so she's asked about a security.
Who's she? Juanetta?
Lynetta
Oh,
has asked about security camera footage, or beefing up the security. I think when there is something like that on the table, we need to make a decision about it.
Right.
And not just bowl over it. You know, we need to have a discussion about it.
right.
Because there's no answer for her.
So what was the cameras, how does it show it when it does show it?
It shows the make of the vehicle, and it's unclear on identifying the individuals. I mean, you can tell the general description, but
fuzzy.
you can't tell facial features.
And you can't read the license plate?
No.
And what kind of trash was dumped? Like a garbage bag?
There was personal items, there was beer bottles. Inside the bag, there was garbage, white shirt, receipts from across the street. Inside a sock, there was hypodermic needles. That's why I contacted the Vermont State Troopers.
Can you let Jill, I'd make a motion, she looks into seeing what kind of camera would be better to fit the needs of what we got here.
I'll second
I'll
that
second,
motion.
Now, the other question I have is, where was it dumped? Was it behind the building, in the woods?
The beer was here and the bag was over on the front, which we couldn't see the camera who dumped it. But inside the bag, there was a receipt with a name on it. And that's why we contacted the Vermont State Troopers.
So they'll follow up on that.
Good.
And if the least offensive, they can get $500 for unlawful dumping.
Mhm.
So Mike made a motion and I did second about having Gwinnett find out about different security cameras.
Or an upgrade of what we got, or whatever would work better for,
Right.
Is it just positioning the cameras so they're in a better angle?
We need both. We need more cameras and a better angle because of not only where the camera is at that elevation, but it doesn't cover the front area of the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's more directed toward that
see, that's
way.
where the dumpsters used to
Yeah. It
Would it-
doesn't,
Oh, sorry, would it also be worth having a conversation with WW to see if they're also going to be putting cameras on their building that will be
That's-
facing this way?
Yeah,
That
I
way
was
it's a
thinking about
collaborative
that too.
effort.
Yeah,
it would be,
I think that's a very good idea. I was
Yeah.
just thinking
I
quietly
think
about
before-
WW, but that's great that you
Yeah,
said
that way
that.
everybody's
I know
on the
he
same
does
page.
now,
Yeah.
so.
and certainly with the amount of parking that's gonna be happening out there.
Right,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they want their own security cameras
Yeah.
too, so that's a very good idea. Maybe we should just, or if you could just talk to Ed Drup first
Mm-hmm.
and tell him if he doesn't know already about this garbage dumping, and then ask what his plans are. Or we,
And also for upgrading what we already have.
yeah.
But even what we have, it'll help him in the future too.
Right,
Absolutely.
So I also noticed out in the parking lot, the park and ride signs should probably be reset into the ground because they're down. And they could be put in that lower, towards our building. I don't know who does what around here, you know, as far as that sort of thing. We don't have a building.
That would be-
back and ride sort of disappeared when we sold that land over
Yeah.
there.
It's not really a park and ride anymore, is it?
No,
You couldn't put cars in the back corner. I mean, just to maintain the fact that we had received money from that grant. I mean, if somebody wanted to.
Or if we could come up with another spot within the town,
Mhm.
that could be another great spot
Right.
for a park and ride, like some of the properties that were purchased after Irene that couldn't be built on again. I don't know if that's an
Yeah, and
idea.
that's again, we don't own this whole property.
No, I know that, yeah, half of it or something.
We could
But I
have
think
that
they
as
did
a
say they
conversation
still didn't
as
want
Yeah.
the parking right there, didn't they?
You know what, when
Because
that,
if we ever come to a point, we'd switch it out back, right?
yeah,
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 Right,
I mean,
so
that
all
will
it
be
is is
part
just
of
putting
your
a sign up,
conversation
right?
when you're talking to Ed Drew,
Mm-hmm.
to talk about the possibility of having a park and ride here. And we'll see if that's workable. If not, you had a good idea of looking elsewhere around.
okay.
Is that good? Okay.
But I think for now though, it wouldn't hurt to have the road crew stick a sign back.
Yeah.
Like that's all she's saying, is get the
Yeah,
sign put back up.
No, I understand.
Right,
I'll tell Jay.
Mhm.
Because we don't have a building supervisor,
right. And the
maintenance
road crew
person.
does a lot of that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't
Oh, my
have,
other question was, who does the job, performance review?
we'll be talking about that.
In executive session?
No. Oh, you mean, well, normally with performance reviews, when we did it for people who are already working here, it's done once a year, and people are chosen, normally 2 people to a person, for a person, and we meet with them just at a time, not in a meeting. We make a date to meet. So for example,
No, I get that part of it. You just meet with
Excuse
them. You just meet with them and ask questions or
yeah,
whatever.
2 people. Like I did, Chris and I did Shannon last year.
Right, I remember that.
Shannon and I worked, we did a review with Merle. I forgot who else.
So Merrill Tessier, zoning is an employee,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. And then Gary Delius and I were supposed to do Shannon. And then it turned out that we postponed it for a few months.
Mhm.
And then it was that Chris was available.
Right.
And so I did it because Gary was gonna be.
So then a performance review is done with a couple of people, board members, and then is the rest of the board do we discuss it in an executive commission session? As far as
Yeah, I
get
think we
it taken-
did, didn't we?
I'm sorry.
We do all that in the executive session. Just like when Onetta would do her review, we'll do it in an executive session.
Well, you'll have
Right.
2 people. Well, you can decide if you wanna have all 5 of us do
Well,
a
I make a
review at
motion
once.
if that's what we do. I make a motion that we have 2 people that will speak with her on her performance. I mean, none of us are really in here to even know what to ask. As far as the workload and stuff like that, you know.
Well, I would be willing to.
Because we're all the same here. We're all, you know,
I-
5 select
No, I
board members,
understand.
right?
Right.
So, you know, the question is how is her job duties, you know, how has she been trained and how is she
But we're going
overseen
to,
on a
all
regular
of us.
basis though? I mean, that's a question.
well, so what's the question?
Well,
How
just,
are we gonna write up a review?
yeah, I mean,
Or are we going to do just a
and
verbal
the
review?
day-to-day overseeing.
A verbal, so we're going to do a verbal review, all 5 of us, in executive session. Is that what you're recommending?
Well, yeah, I guess,
To meet an executive session?
well, like what you were saying before, you went around with 2, you went around like a.
Well, I mean, in the past with reviews.
But this is right now, what we're doing here is a review, is it after 60 days or whatever,
90 days,
90
yeah.
days. Is when's
So,
your review then, like next?
okay, so
This is 60?
her 90 days is up on May 20th. So we can set a time right after that to have the review.
Okay, so that brings me to the point of how does she, as the board, interact with us? If we have a request, it should be honored.
Well, we're not doing the review right now.
No, I'm not saying that.
So
I'm
I'd
just
like to
saying
have that as a private conversation.
Okay,
If we're doing it in executive session,
I'm not saying,
it's private.
I'm not saying in, well, it's an open public meeting, that's all I'm saying.
No, an open public meeting is not the same as when you go into executive session though.
Exactly, but I'm not in an executive, I'm just asking overall how we as a board are to interact with the administrative assistant. In the past, I mean, Shannon has pretty much, you know, managed it, but I mean, she's new
Right.
and, you know, we should have an idea.
We should go to the chair, and the chair go to her.
Well, is
Yes.
that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to that. The
Yes.
chairperson goes to Winetta. We don't all go to
I'll
Winetta.
second your motion. I agree with that. Cause we have to keep some sort of order in our meetings and how we talk to people, because we have to be careful of the open meeting law that when we're all together and we're not in a meeting or an executive session, we don't wanna get in trouble with that.
Yeah, but
So-
the point is if you are looking for information or something and you're
One more meeting.
needing that information from the administrative assistant, that you should be able to get that information.
But you
Well,
should
Chris
be able
just said, there's a motion that the chairperson goes to whenever.
So everything has to go to you then, as a
I'm the
request?
chairperson.
Yes. Yes,
Is that what you're saying?
yes.
And that's what she just
I
seconded.
just second, yes, I agree with that.
So all requests should go to you and then you'll be the one that's in charge of the administrative assistant.
I'll be in charge of what?
The administrative assistant.
I don't think that's what
I'm
he's
not in
saying.
charge
He's
of
not-
her.
No,
I'm not in charge of her.
Uh-huh. Well, I guess I'm not
I'm,
clear.
what is it that you're not clear?
Well, any one of us can talk to her,
Of
right?
course you can.
absolutely.
Right, as long as there's no more than two of us at a
Right,
So
time.
I don't understand what the
Right.
motion is.
I don't know, like the motion would be, I don't know, I guess that'd have to be if you had a decision on something, but. I mean, I guess to really talk to her, I guess any one of us can talk to her, right? Or any two of us at a time can talk to her.
Is it more
Yeah, but we
select-
can't tell her what to do.
But is it more for
Why can't we tell her what to do?
information regarding the select board itself that should go through?
The whole board has to tell her. One person can't go up to her and tell her what to do.
Well, I think we need to look at the job description. Because my understanding is that the administrative assistant works for each of the board members as a board,
No,
as
as
part
a
of the
board,
board.
as a board.
As a collective whole.
I have the administrative assistant job description right here.
Okay,
Have you read it?
I'm sure I have.
Oh,
You always
okay.
ask me that, have you
Well,
read
you
it?
tell
Have
me
you
no.
seen the
You
video?
usually tell me no, you haven't read it or something.
Well,
So
the
I'm
point,
just
the
asking
point
you.
is that I'm just wondering how it, we're supposed to, interact.
Well, I think any one of us can go up and discuss things.
Right.
But as far as the decisions go, none of us can really, any of us can make a decision unless it's done with at least three
Right.
people
Two
Right.
people. Oh, three
Right.
people, you mean, as a decision.
as a quorum.
Okay.
But I think any one of us could go in and make suggestions or whatever and about
Right.
a lot of different, day-to-day working type stuff. Or whatever, if, she has a problem, she could ask you, or whatever. Thought we knew the answer, we could probably do it, but I mean,
That was my understanding.
right. So, we couldn't say, go order the cameras, one of us, if we felt like that, or.
No, you cannot say
Right.
that. That's as a board. right.
That's a board
But
decision.
as far as any one of us want to go, you can always come in and sit down and talk to her and see how things are going, or,
Yeah, which I said from
discuss
the
something,
beginning.
even discuss it, I mean.
As a,
just like
it's a
that
supportive
excavator
manner
bids, any
to
one of
come
them,
in.
we could have sat down and gone over it with her, just to go over the thing.
Yeah, of course. I said that right in the beginning when Winetta was hired. I said it would be really great if people come in when they have time and just check up and see if there's anything we can do to help Winetta or to be supportive to her, that would be great.
Were you thinking more along the lines of business for the select board?
Yeah.
To go through Marion?
Yeah.
And then it goes to Juanetta? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's good. As far as agenda items and what we need to discuss and go forth on.
Well, agenda items, yes. But
Yeah.
I'm saying for everyday,
Right,
if there's a request for, the bid policy or something,
That should be able to come in and get that whenever you need to.
or request it by email and get a copy of it.
right, yeah, any one of us could do that. As I say, anybody could do any of that stuff,
Have you not received copies of policies? Because I know that she's
I've
given
been
it to us.
asking,
I'm asking, have you
and it's
gotten?
been delayed, and I don't know why. I'm just asking for a copy of, something, and I'm not getting it, a week later or whatever. So it's by email, I'm just asking for information. So, I didn't know if there was some sort of a rule.
Well, for some reason, a lot of times my emails don't come through either from here. It did with Shannon, too,
I had it today with Winetta.
We've
It was
had,
hours.
we've had issues with
Yeah, she
the
couldn't,
emails.
she kept trying to
But
email
then I
me.
didn't get them from her all the time either.
Doris and Carol have both had issues with receiving and sending emails,
Yeah,
and it's gone through Southern Vermont Cable. So there is an email issue.
Right. So if you look into that, see if we get it straightened up so it does come through quicker, or some other way of doing it to us or something.
Yeah, it's intermittent and sometimes crazy.
I would have to say that if you're emailing for information, this is what I personally would do, and if you haven't received it within 24 hours or so, is to come in,
right,
say hi, and ask again.
exactly.
That's what I would do personally.
That's what,
Yeah, I mean,
Because I don't,
Like
can't
I
rely on email alone.
right,
but yeah, I mean, it is good that everybody's asking questions, just like I said, well, it's a learning curve for everybody right now, you know? And it's just like I said, I think she's doing a hell of a job.
I do
And
too.
one of the things, I don't think she did get a lot of assistance the week or two that she had our assistant here.
Right,
And there should have been a list of items that should have been left behind for her
well,
to
well,
expect.
she
And
did
one of
get
them was
this.
to expect is, I mean, just like one of the things that I heard about this before tonight was the $175,000,
Right,
that grant. That should have been on a list somewhere, say, look, keep watch for this thing or better look
Right.
into it.
and it's
Because that
great
was-
that she discovered it.
I mean, we've already paid for
Well, they
that.
discovered it, not, it was in that audit.
Right, but I mean, that was already approved when we did the bridge.
Yeah,
So that should have been signed up and put in back when we paid for the bridge.
so my thought is you might want to
So that should have been on a list somewhere.
follow up on those
Spec them.
projects. I make a motion that she would spend time on,
She did, that's why we're getting the check.
yeah, I know, but that's one, but if there's anything else that needs to be attended to that,
I don't know if it's any other flood money or not. you know,
Right.
But, yeah, I said, for something like that, that's pretty good. You know, that should have been pointed out.
Yeah, right,
From the old one.
right. Well, in the meantime, I'm grateful that you found it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
so as far as that goes, if we have a request or something, I'm not always able to stop in because I do work and I'm not able to get in here all the time. But if I have a request by email, I like to be able to put the file on my computer. So and so that I can refer to it, so I'm not having to go to the website. And on the website, we're still having issues with having individual documents put up there as a PDF file. So it's I don't know what's happening, but you put it up there with the agenda, minutes, and everything, reports, which is great, but you can't download it. You can only look at it.
What do you mean? You can't download the PDF?
There's no PDF. It's just on the website. You just click on
What
it
website?
on
Town
our
of
town
Newfane.
website.
But she mails all of this to us
Yeah, I
individually.
know. That's
So what
old
is it?
school. I like to be able to have them as a PDF so I can put it into my files so that I can, the bid policy, whatever. It took me over a week to get what the bid policy was, what the current was. We just hadn't made a change to it.
Well, I guess,
So,
I mean, that's something you wouldn't want to work out or whatever. If you got a question like that, call them up and go through it. And, you know, it'd probably improve for all of us sort of thing, so.
I don't know, I'm in here almost every day.
But I was saying, I guess what I'm getting at is something like that doesn't have to go through you or whatever.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying that particularly this is, you know, when Ed is here new, I understand that not everybody can come in here every day, but if you can show up and just, you know, in a positive way, work with her, I think things could, you know.
Or you
I
can-
have. You've seen me in here before.
Yeah,
But if I'm requesting something, it'd be like for the website, we had talked about getting that website corrected. And
I
it's
never
not-
heard of that.
well,
I've never heard that.
Would that be
conversation.
towards, would that go towards Bauman? So we
Yeah,
need to
that's
discuss
really-
it with Bauman about how the website
Yeah,
is
it's
not
our-
user friendly.
It's not the select board's responsibility with the town of Newfane website. That's not in our control.
That's not in our control?
No, and I think you wrote that to Annetta and she responded to you on one of your emails this past week.
How would you know that? I mean, why would you say the website's not in our control?
Because we don't do that. It's not a select board website, it's a town of Newfane website.
Well, we represent the town of Newfane.
But we have somebody who uploads and puts all the documents
So you're
for the
saying-
town of Newfane.
Okay, so you have to get the documents to that person and they upload it. But I think she's been doing it herself.
I only do the select board stuff.
Right.
You've spoken to Bauman, right?
Bauman
What does
does
Bauman
everything
say?
else.
What does Bauman?
Bauman does everything else. I only post the select board minutes and
Right.
agendas.
Cause we as the planning, when I was on the planning commission, we always had Bauman posting
Bauman is the
everything for
one
us.
who, Bauman,
No, I know, it's
okay, so he does.
the web developer or, yeah, okay.
So we could discuss with
what-
him about
what-
making things PDF format.
Mm-hmm. That's, you know how to make a PDF, right?
I've done it before,
Yeah.
She
but
does
I
it.
don't do it for the minutes in order to post it. I just attach it.
Yeah, well, what I'm, it's always done in the past,
Is
it
this
was
in the
as a
minutes?
separate PDF.
I can go back and look at the notes.
Okay, how do, I think
Excuse
we're
me?
very sidetracked here.
I don't think so, because.
Yeah, we started, the question was about, a review, when we're going to have a review. And now we're talking about other things that are not on the agenda, and we have an agenda to follow, and I have to, actually, you're the next one on the agenda.
Okay, well.
Green
The
update.
question is, you know, the mechanics of doing the job, I guess. And that's how I started out, was how the board interacts and
No, we were
based on
talking
the
about the fact,
performance.
we were talking about the fact that in a little over a month, we are going to be working on a review.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right,
that's it. That's
Right.
what we talked about, setting a date for the review.
right. Well, there was, so I guess.
But we're not doing a review right now.
No, I'm not asking for a review right now,
Well, it
I'm
sounds
just,
like that there's a lot of things that are being brought up that are really not on the agenda for right now. I have to follow the agenda.
I know you do.
Maybe at our next meeting, we could discuss the mechanics of the website.
I
Maybe
actually don't know if that's our,
I agree, I don't,
you
I
know,
mean,
it's
it's
Bauman.
Bauman who
It's
does
not
that
us.
all, but I mean.
No, but she's uploading the minutes and the.
Just for
and
us.
agenda
Yeah, and what's the problem with that?
on the website.
I'm missing the problem.
But you're talking about
I can't
other,
download it. It used to be you could download it,
so maybe that can be,
and I've
Good
asked for
then.
copies to be sent to me, and I can't get copies sent to me, so I can review it. So I'm just trying to find a written resolve on it.
okay.
So, I know Miriam wants to get going, so I'll leave it as it is.
So Shelley, you're the next on the agenda about Green Up Day?
Yes, so we have a green up day coming on Saturday, May 4th. And I have had two people that have been working with me, Laura Bacon Wallingford, who was the former chair, and Gloria Cristelli. Is that how you say your last name?
Cristelli.
Cristelli. I always know her as Gloria. So they have organized the list by roadways, and they are looking for captains for each of the sections. There's like some people have just kind of taken it over, but really looking for sections of areas in our town. A couple of them were identified last year as dumping sites, one down on the River Road, which is on that embankment, that steep embankment, and then another one, and I'm not really quite sure, way up in, would anybody know where there's another dump site? Chris?
Up Hunter Brook.
Hunter Brook? Yeah, that sounds familiar.
It got
And,
cleaned up, but
huh?
somebody cleaned it up, but
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. The other thing is that we have $100 in the budget for Green Up Day. And I was looking for new signage options. The signage that we had in the past was wooden, very heavy, which was great because nobody stole it, but it rotted out. And so last year they just picked it up and took it and put it in the dump. So this year, what we've had in the past was basically green up ahead, kind of caution, kind of an idea. And nowadays it's all plastic.
It's all what?
Plastic
Oh,
signage,
Uh-huh.
and you can get inserts to put them to announce, Green Up Day. My idea, because I was so sick this year, was to be able to do sponsorships and with company logos that would sponsor, $25, $50 space, but I wasn't able to do that. So now I still think we still need signage just to announce to the drivers to be careful about, to be aware that it's Green Up Day and also to advertise it as Green Up Day. So the question is, I saw 2 signs over at Williamsville Hall, and they have the letters that you put inside of it, to make a,
Oh, we have that,
Tripod.
yeah.
and there's one there.
Yeah.
And that usually has, Green Up Day on May 4th
Yeah.
announcement. But there's 2 over at Williamsville Hall, and I don't know if there's any other signage, but I'm just trying to figure out how to reinstate those 4 signs that we were missing. We had one at Depot Road on Route 30.
And they used to
entrance.
just set up so the traffic, there's somebody up there.
Yeah,
But I would almost suggest if you're gonna do that, towns already got the tripods. Now all you'd have to do is buy the flag to go on it.
a tripod, meaning like a,
Yeah, that would hold the sign that says Green Up Day,
oh, it would?
Green Up Ahead.
Are you talking about the black things? Or
The ones that holds the orange signs like the,
The like
Trying
mowing
to
ahead,
say-
the mowing ahead signs.
right,
road
mowing ahead
construction
or
signs.
men
Oh, it's
working,
like metal.
like a men working thing.
Yeah.
So if they've already, all you have to do is buy the insert,
Well, that's a good
you
idea
know, and you
then.
can probably buy them pretty cheap. It says Green Up Day on it, and just borrow the tripods from the town and put the green up
Well, I had,
thing on that.
I had a price, it was like 5 for, I don't know, $150 or something. Signs that have printed, for Green Up Day. And,
The ones that are in front of Williamsville Hall and the one out in front of here, you just have to talk to Carol.
What I'd almost do is see Jay,
mhm.
or have Christopher maybe ask him and have him call the Ripco one, place he gets his signs from,
Uh-huh.
and see if they have the triangles to go on his post. And all you could, if he's got, I mean, he's probably got quite a few of them post signs, so then you just buy them, stick them at some of the main drags, showing his Green Up
I
Ahead.
think you got 6 or 7 of them over there.
Yeah. So I think them plastic things probably only cost, 20, 30, $20 a piece or something like that, not very
Yeah, well,
expensive.
I mean, it also stated Green Up Day.
Right.
So,
And then when you're all done, it just rolls up and you put it into a sleeve and it's there for next year.
oh, so it's like a cloth or something?
Yeah.
that you-
It's a vinyl.
Yeah, vinyl. Oh, okay, that sounds good. That sounds like an idea. Okay. Okay, so Tom.
May I ask you, or you're probably gonna say, it, where do people pick up the bags? Is it here?
Oh, okay, good question. It's gonna still be at the Newfane Market, so you can pick up the bags. Probably we'll have it close to a week before Green Up Day, which is just around the corner. It's like 2 weeks away.
It's gonna be at the market?
At the market, Newfane Market, yeah. In addition to that, for the Green Up Day, is that the Valley Lions is hosting a second annual Green Up Day along with a eco scavenger hunt. And they're offering prizes of $25 and $15 and $10 a piece for first, second, and third. And the Boy Scout Troop 428 will be part of that scavenger hunt. And that's in cooperation with Community Hope in Action, with a picnic at the Townsend Common, hot dogs, hamburgers, salads, desserts. And that's gonna be between 11 and 2. So I wanted to invite everybody and to let everybody know that that's happening again this year. So for Green Up Day, and that's for the whole West River Valley area.
I remember you did that last year, right?
Yeah. So this year it's a eco scavenger hunt, picking up garbage, and then also finding something in each of the towns, and that would be Newfane, Brookline, Townsend, Jamaica, and Wardsboro.
And can you talk a little bit about when somebody gets a bag,
Yeah.
they're going around and filling it up, what happens? They just leave a filled bag on the roadside? And
Yeah.
Yep.
And who picks
The
that
town
up?
picks it up Monday morning.
Okay, so that's good to know.
Yes.
People need to know.
Yes. And if you run out of green bags, you can use other bags, because we do get a very small supply. This year I've actually got 6 posters, so they're out and about right now. But if you wanted to work a certain road or section, you can give a call to 802-221-0536. And as the chair, I can relay that to the other committee members.
So if you don't get a green bag, you can go out with any color bag.
Yeah, it's
And
just,
the road crew will still pick that, or whomever, they pick
yeah,
it
and
up.
any, tires or whatever you find,
Yeah.
put alongside the road. Now, the thing is that Route 30 is basically cleaned up by the state. But I haven't seen the state out yet, but they do go through before the green up day, I believe.
You know where a bad dumping ground is? And I don't know if this is in our jurisdiction, but Ellenware Road.
Oh, that's Townsend.
Townsend.
That's
Yeah.
down.
I mean, I think
Townsend,
part of
yeah.
Townsend and Brookline.
Brookline,
Yeah.
yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah, I don't know. So we are
Okay,
looking
so
for,
then,
yeah,
so you're in charge of green updates for Newfane.
Town of Newfane.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the town of Townsend is gonna be hosting with Lions Club something separate.
Right, in Grace Cottage Hospital.
Okay,
But everybody's invited.
okay,
So, and we want more people to, after you've been cleaning up in the morning, come up and have a picnic with us.
okay.
So, and enjoy the scavenger hunt, because you can win money,
Okay.
and clean up the
What, they got it
environment.
like in a certain can or something like that, or they got like a tag out there with a can in it or something? or-
Yes, it's gonna be a stake. I'm gonna put a stake in each of the towns in the public area, and they have to identify what's on that stake, or but there's a whole list of of things to pick up, and that's garbage, like a bottle, a metal can, or I don't know, whatever, something bigger than your hand. So there's a couple little things, other things, and in order to win the prize, you got to get around to each of the 5 towns. So to find this post, it's going to be a green post. The Boy Scouts are painting, and it's going to say Green Up Day 2019 probably on it, and you'll have to identify what's on that post.
Oh, I see.
For the price.
What were the picnic hours at the common?
The picnic hours are 11 to 2,
Thank you.
and you must be present to win the scavenger hunt. At 2 o'clock, it'll be presented. Okay, so that was Green Up Day.
Well, thank you. That's a lot of work and organizing you're doing, and I'm sure it'll be great. And I remember, I haven't done it every year, but sometimes I haven't had a green bag, so I'll go out with, I used to do River Road,
Oh, yeah.
because that's my favorite place to walk.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
very sadly, people do dump garbage on these beautiful roads. I just don't understand it.
And I always remember back in the 70s, remember the ad of the Indian that had a tear in his eye? And because of all the pollution.
Yeah,
And if you look at, I'm not the climate, guru, but it's just about being respectful to the earth.
of course.
And, oceans are just filled with plastic.
Oh, the whales. Have you heard about the whales?
It's
I know,
terrible.
It's horrible.
It's terrible.
Okay, well,
So-
thank you for that.
Yeah.
So the next item under new business is legal representation for the town. And that was brought up as a request 2 weeks ago that we could have this on the agenda tonight. And we have had the attorney, Rich Carroll, as the town attorney for the last several years. I don't know how long he's been here. And it has come up as a question and a thought that it might be time to maybe interview other attorneys and see where they stand. And Mike, would you like to say something about that?
Well, I've had people bring it up to me, and that's
Yeah.
why I brought it up, was
Yeah, that's great.
they thought it was time that we look for different town attorneys and check out different ones and choose on somebody else.
Well, I know we discussed Larry Slayson, from Bellas
I don't know
Falls,
that.
Attorney Slayson, and he's very reputable, but he is actually, and I wish I had copied off that, article, but he is representing, I believe, I wanna say Grafton, Athens.
Oh, I've read that article. There are
Western
several
Master.
attorneys working right
He's
now.
my attorney from one of
And
my
he's been
things.
my attorney, and
What's
he's
his
been
name?
Larry
Slayson.
Slayson. And he's
Nystrom and
Can you
something.
spell that name?
Where's he
Slayson,
from?
Salason. Slayson,
YSLAYSON maybe? I'm not sure.
Slayson, it's up in Bellas Falls.
He represents town of Westminster.
In the last,
He's very thorough.
in the last week or so, there have been a few articles in the Reformer about the issue with Act 46.
Yep.
And the towns that are working with attorneys to try to get it reversed. And so there are a lot of names of attorneys that have appeared in these articles.
Well, Larry's doing that up there in that neck of the woods.
Mhm.
And he's a local guy. And why we were talking about that is also because of the fact that the solar panels on that property, that's not used as educational purposes for
You mean
educational.
on the
For educational.
school,
Right.
Right.
And
Right.
that should be cut out.
right.
It should have been cut out.
Well, that's one of the things, like I said with Rich, he come around and said, no, there ain't nothing you can do. I don't believe it, I mean,
It's gotta be done right off though, I think.
that's right.
Well, I think, it's.
But like I said, if, it's for educational use, if it's not educational use, it can go back to the town.
Right,
And like I
For a
said, that's
dollar.
not, you're right. And that's not for educational purposes for the school that I see.
right.
And, yeah, I just think that, there's a lot of people, I think, that thought that should go back to the town.
So there are two issues right now that I'm hearing. One is dealing with the issues with Act 46 and particularly in our town about the solar panels being used. And we did get a response from Rich Carroll in writing that he had researched it and he said nothing could be done.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have questions about maybe if we would hire somebody else as a second opinion at least. And then to deal with Act 46. And then in general, is there a desire about changing attorneys from now on?
I make a motion that we interview Larry Slayson for the town attorney.
Yeah, well, I would like to know more about that person.
Yeah,
And I mean, we all
to
would,
interview,
yeah. And maybe.
Not just
I
me,
mean,
but I'm saying.
right. And
everybody.
I think we should have,
I think, even like Bobby Fisher, he made that pretty good years ago. He was always Fisher and Fisher.
yeah,
They're
Would
used
it
to-
be wise to put it out there for other attorneys?
I
to-
think we should.
Instead
do
of
that.
just one, that
Yes.
we have
Sure.
a number?
Yeah, I
attorneys to
think
interview.
particularly when you want to,
Be fair.
well, not be fair, but to have at least minimum 3 people to
Exactly.
interview,
Yeah,
to be
be
recommended.
proper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Robin Stern is somebody I know, and actually she was here once representing somebody about land. So if a few of us have.
Well, I think that one you're talking about, she was here that night with Bobby Fisher, right?
Does she what?
Wasn't she here with Bob Fisher?
Yeah,
Oh, she
I'm
was?
trying to think of what that was all about.
That was at least a year or a year and a
It
half.
was some way to do it. I don't think it was that development where they wanted to take the road over, was it? It was,
No, it was
it was
somebody,
something to do.
Phil's, I forgot what it was,
She was here.
Well, her attorney, I mean, she's, what's it, Potter Stewart. She's with Potter
Oh,
Stewart.
the father, sorry?
Yeah,
Oh, thought
I mean,
she-
she's the attorney and
Maybe
she's
so.
also his wife. So they're other. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
She's actually an excellent attorney though, too. So if we have a few attorneys, how do you want to go about this?
Well, I guess we would put a letter out to, say 4 or 5 attorneys that we selected and ask for them to schedule an appointment maybe, and we could have an executive
Yeah,
session.
the ones that work with the towns,
Yeah,
So right now we have Larry Sleason and Robert Fisher.
Fisher,
And-
Fisher,
Robin
Stern, if you want.
is another name.
Did you say Bob Fisher?
yeah, it's, yeah,
Yeah.
Robert
Fisher and Fisher is the company.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
that's 3.
That's 3. And do we talk to Rich Carroll as well, or
We
do we
could.
just?
It wasn't just that last incident, there's a couple times I didn't like what he had to say. And I didn't think he gave us a lot of information, there's a couple other things he was,
I think we should forget about him.
yeah.
Well, there's 2. I say 3, so,
We have 3 on the list.
no, but I'm saying, if we call a motion on, a vote on it.
Well, I'm not
So I
sure.
guess we're saying no.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to, if I'm ready to say no to him or I would certainly I would certainly entertain and vote on a motion that we are researching the possibility of having somebody new.
Right,
And that,
Right.
but I don't want to say right now, no, we're not using Rich Carroll anymore.
No.
You have
No.
legal representation.
Right.
second it.
Yeah, I think you made the motion. Did I make the motion?
Well, I like what she just said, it. That's
I
good.
think, yeah.
Okay. So we have a motion. Do we have a second? Who made the motion?
I don't know.
I'll make the motion for what you just said, so,
What I said?
yeah.
Oh,
That we would interview potential new attorneys.
To represent the
For
town.
representation for the town of Newfane. That's the motion.
okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any
Any
further
discussion?
discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
I think we have a tendency to discuss before we,
What?
I think we have a tendency to discuss, not make the motion and then discuss. I think we have a tendency as a board to discuss it.
No, we,
It's
oh,
just,
well, we discuss and make a motion and then we discuss again and
yeah.
then we vote.
Yeah.
So how are we gonna go about this?
Well, my very question,
Is when are they gonna call in 3 anyways, and stuff, and,
Or send them a generic letter.
Yeah.
Because there should be something in writing
Right.
asking if they'd like to come to an interview for
Right.
the town.
Fisher, Slicer, and who was the other one?
Robin Stern?
if you have any other people you want to recommend? Winetta, are you confident about writing this on your own, or do you need some help from somebody, not me, to write up a letter for attorneys? So that
I'll
we don't,
write it up and then ask somebody to review it.
Okay.
that would be good, yeah,
Okay.
okay, great. Okay,
Thank you.
okay, thank you very much. So we voted on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, you wanted to talk about Williamsville Hall under old business?
Yeah, the cleanup. It's really bad over there. It's this really,
Have you considered, the fact that we have a Williamsville committee that could be doing this?
I don't know if they're willing and able to do it.
No, I'm not saying that they should go out and clean it, but,
But it's something we should collaborate with the Williamsville Hall on, something like that.
yeah.
What have they
We have
done in
a
the
committee
past?
over there.
What has happened in the past as far as cleanup?
I
and
don't know.
What happened now?
Yeah, I
So
really
we should
don't know.
I think a lot of times the road crew goes in spring cleaning, don't they?
He's
Well,
jumping.
Who does it, Grace?
Yeah, Mark does.
Or Grace?
So we have somebody who normally does it, Mark Gray.
As far as I know, he does. He does one.
So, and
Is
is
that
he still
contract
working
still?
with us?
Yes, yeah.
He's still working. So is it possible to get in touch with Mark Gray?
Okay.
Well, okay, so the question is whether or not we just hand it to him as a piece of business or do
Well, he does that.
I
That's
know,
what he
but
does.
there might be other people that might wanna do it.
Well, that's been for the
I
spring
don't
cleaning.
know, you know what,
see
if
can
we
do it.
have an employee who is used by the town to go and do projects, why would we wanna,
Is he an employee of the town?
isn't he?
He's a
Oh,
subcontractor.
no, or
Subcontract.
subcontract,
He's a subcontractor.
but he's been doing a lot of,
He's done all the cemeteries for years.
yeah, so you don't
So he's
wanna,
already doing it.
yeah,
Yes.
he's doing it, you don't wanna,
He does a good job. He's more than reasonable.
right.
Is the cemetery bid gonna go out too for mowing?
And they what?
The
I don't
bid
think
for
we let them
mowing?
They don't bid that out. We haven't ever bid it out.
Oh, you don't bid it out?
No.
That's what I'm saying, we have a person who's been working for the town
Uh-huh,
as a subcontractor for years,
uh-huh.
doing various
Mhm.
jobs that everybody seems to be pleased with.
So you don't need to redo that.
No,
That makes
it's
sense.
my opinion.
He's done this out here for years.
He does the sidewalks, he does the mowings.
Yeah, so maybe he does spring cleanup.
Yeah, they said he does
Yeah.
at the hall.
At the hall?
That's what you said,
Well, that's
right?
what you said, right?
I thought he did.
No.
Well, we're gonna find out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
We'll find out.
I mean, so are we gonna, discuss or let the committee know that that's something that we're looking to do?
What, Nada?
I will let Steve Levine know that we're gonna contact Mark Gray prior to the dog show
Right.
for spring cleanup
Right.
outside of the hall.
I think Jay said something about the trees in the down back.
Yeah, it's so wet down there, you can't get down there.
Right, that makes sense. But,
See, the septic system is down there too, so
Right.
you just don't go down there now.
yeah,
Should've been out there yesterday and today throwing it in the river.
Yeah.
fun voyage.
Okay,
So I think the dog show is on the 27th, yes.
yeah,
Yes.
So, it'd be nice if I don't know if they're even having it, have you heard anything?
I have.
It's been advertised. I've seen it on Front Porch Forum.
Yeah, but they haven't gotten that many
Yeah.
applicants. So, I guess that's it
okay.
on that.
Okay, next item is correspondence. We have one piece of correspondence.
Wait, but there's traffic calming, that's the second order
Oh.
of business. So on Dover Road, I mean, I don't want it to go on the wayside, and my understanding is that it should be brought to the planning, commission,
It has been.
and it has been, and that they should make a plan if they have enough people, which they're sorely in need of people to be on the commission. But the ones that we were talking with and I met with are not a committee. They were very adamant about that. But in order for something like this to get done, there has to be a plan of what needs to be done. You know, this year, next year, whatever, future, 5 years, 10 years, so that the town can plan for it, versus it just being pushed off. You know, back in 2005, they did a report. We just had another report
Well, do you
done.
remember when Gary Delius was here and the people from Williamsville were here?
Yeah.
He was saying, and we agreed, he was saying that it's really best if those people, or if need be an official committee, would work together and make up a list of what they want done and how they plan to do it. Then they come to the select board.
Well, no, I think it really has to go to the planning because we have a town plan and it should meet the requirements of the town plan if it's not in there already.
I do believe it is in the town plan.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
An
that's-
update on the traffic calming is in the town plan.
Yeah,
okay,
I mean, there is a planning.
Because there's certain things they can't do that they wanna do.
right, so
Because the
they have,
state says no.
right, and that's why it goes through the planning commission because they know what is required by the state, what they can do, what you can't do, and maybe even some funding options or whatever. But it needs to have actual committee work done.
So the people that we're working on the traffic calming for Dover Road, are they gonna try and expand it? What we would call a committee, but they don't call them committee?
I think everyone's kind of, one, that was involved wasn't able to do it. I think time-wise, they're not able to put the time behind it as a committee.
I attended a meeting and there were some great ideas and Bud Bergman had some really wonderful plans.
Yeah, were very nice.
They were very well thought out and I
Very,
just wondered if, between him, Annie and Jennifer Stanfield, if Annie Landenberger and Jen Stanfield, if they were gonna.
Annie
Andy
Landenberg
Murray
said
said no committee.
Well, I didn't know if they had
No, no.
other people within
Well,
on
that-
Dover Road
yeah.
that
Well,
they
could
had
be,
thought
yeah.
of that they could enhance their the committee.
Yeah, I mean, why are they not, I mean, they're very driven and very committed to having things happen. And if they don't want to be an official committee, are they willing to go out and look for people who would form a committee to continue what they've been doing?
Well, I think that's why I'm bringing it up. It's a public forum and hopefully people will watch it and, read the minutes or whatever and get the word out that there needs to be other people involved and it needs to be a committee and they need to understand that they have to work with the planning commission and not just come to the select board because it's not gonna happen if they just come to the select board. It's gotta be a well thought out plan and get funding behind it in order for it to move ahead. And once we have a plan, they can come to us and, say, well, we
But isn't
need.
that what we were talking about, like in the fall? And we've been talking about this for a long
Yeah,
time.
that was in the
Yes.
fall, but I'm trying to bring it back up to the point of action, now that it's springtime, that things can be done. We also had talked about, with Jay, about putting some sort of a side area, more or less, and I think he investigated it, and there's like maybe a septic system in the way to make a temporary walkway where the walk.
Well,
The old walk
room up
is-
through there, he said.
No, there's not enough room to do
I
that.
think what he did say they're looking at already is the lines
They're gonna put those in right off.
Yeah,
around the
Okay.
roads.
Yeah, and there's gonna be stop signs.
No, you're supposed to be getting another speed sign too, right? Did he say,
Yeah,
no,
I think so.
I thought there's gonna be another speed
some
sign.
electrical signs,
mm-hmm.
so that, and it, them,
I mean, it's not like we hadn't been trying, but it's, some of the other ideas from the audit really needs to be reviewed by a committee and then there's funding out there, from Vermont state, the state of Vermont to put some of these things into fruition, 50-50 match or something, but, it's a project. It's not just a idea.
The problem in Williamsville Village is most of the people that are complaining are the worst offenders.
I mean, I go very slow through there. I recognize it as a village,
Yeah. No, but there is, so I'm not gonna say anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and I've heard people say, "Oh yeah, I'm a culprit," So I mean, I think the new signage, Jay's gonna put new signage in, but it's traffic calming ideas that came out of that audit, and they came down. I mean, they put a lot of effort into it. The state did, and now it's our responsibility as the town to take it to the next level, and not let it sit and just waste away like it did in 2005. So I'm just advocating for them. And, you know, again, we need, you know, I strongly urge people to volunteer to be on the committee and look at that audit and make a plan. And then, you know, I guess the planning commission would then come to the select board with a request for money.
That they would do, yes.
Okay. So, but it's really gotta come through the planning commission.
Mhm.
And there's only one or two three people.
There's three
There's
commission members.
three, yeah, commissioners. But they're looking for more people because there's a lot to be going, a lot to do.
Yes.
So that's my update.
Good.
Okay. Correspondence is one piece of correspondence. And it's from Sebeds, Sebeds. And they're saying that town leaders, volunteers, and officials are invited to join us at the 3rd Annual Southern Vermont Economy Summit on May 23rd at Mount Snow. The summit is a day-long learning and networking event designed with our communities in mind. So I'm just going to give the email address for anybody who would like to find out all the information. They're giving the address as www, capital S-O, and then Vermont, VERMONT, summit.com.
Oh, that's the summit being put on by Brattleboro Development Economic, right, the BDC?
Yeah, I think so.
BCRC.
BCRC. Yeah,
Over in,
it's Mount Snow.
Mount Snow.
Okay?
That's really important for people to go to if they're inclined to do economic development in this town.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be in Mount Snow on May 23rd. They're going to have different workshops, keynote speakers, and so the flyer is here, and you can email.
So I probably will be able to attend it. I know
Okay.
it's, are you going?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay. And that's it. So I think we're ready to do pay orders. So we thank everybody for being here tonight with us. Have a good evening. Thank you, Jan, for your time. And be safe. Thank you.